Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me. I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
So ain't nothing changed from yesterday.
Okay.
Still the same person I was yesterday, and I got the same thing for you that I had yesterday. You know why I'm here.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Well, you're watching the game last night. And welcome everybody on a Tell Me More Tuesday here to X's and Bros. You're watching the game last night, and you're starting to shake your head a little bit. And I understand why, because I was doing the same thing. You're watching the game last night, and you're starting to notice more flaws. Now, it's against one of the best pitchers in baseball. He does have the lowest ERA in all of baseball. This is on me, but here's my issue. Pittsburgh had just been swept by the White Sox. I mean, Paul Skeens wasn't pitching, but the White Sox beat him 10-1, 10-4, and 7-2. Pittsburgh's offense is terrible. It is. So you can do that math. They scored 4 runs in 3 games against the White Sox. The White Sox. I don't have to tell you that the White Sox are really bad. Why are they bad? They're bad for a number of different reasons. Okay? They don't have what the Tigers and a lot of the really good teams have. That's pretty obvious. They're really bad because they don't have pitching. They don't have much offense either. In fact, pitching-wise, they're in the lower half of all of baseball. And yet, they were able to hold the Pirates to just 4 runs in 3 games. And I'm watching Jack Flaherty pitch, and I'm going, okay, here's another walk. There's another walk. He's making $25 million. And I'm wondering, and this is a long roundabout way of why I talk about pitching and why I wouldn't spend on certain guys and so on and so forth. Jack Flaherty makes $25 million. Javier Baez makes $25 million. Where's the uproar over Jack Flaherty? I know prior to this, a few good outings, and you could say it's only 3 innings. Or, there's only 3 innings, but only 3 runs. Folks, he can't get, he's getting people on base left and right. He's throwing 74, 75 pitches in 3 innings. There's a reason A.J. Hinch went to his bullpen. So you start to see a little bit, and again, this is on me. This is my fault. I'm starting to look at things with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb. And you're shaking your head going, man, is this a guy you want in the postseason starting for you? It's a fair question. We're at the end of July, man. It's July 22nd today. Where the month is gone, I have no idea. But this is the problem. And it's against a Pittsburgh team it's just not very good. And you know that. So how does that happen? How is that confidence? The confidence has to stem from, A.J. Hinch and Chris Fetter. Chris Fetter may fix him. He may work on some things with him. They're always working on things. The bullpen session will take place today and so on and so forth. But they're going to work at some things. But for A.J. Hinch to go out and get him that quickly, 78 pitches, 6 hits. There has to be some deep-rooted issues. 3 walks, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 innings against a bad baseball team. Paul Skeens was really good. He didn't go deep into the game either. Maybe people in Pittsburgh are saying to their talk show host this morning, similar to what we said yesterday morning about Tarek Skubal being pulled. Skeens pulled after 6 innings. It's a Tigers team that comes back on a lot of games. Down and come back just before the All-Star break. I think we gave you the statistic. 18 and 16 in one-run games or in comeback games or something along those lines. And they can stage a comeback with their offense. And Pittsburgh's going to rely on their bullpen. And maybe you saw, just maybe, David Bednar last night. He could be a future Tiger. 3-0 the final. So I look at Flaherty, there's issue, but still wonder aloud, literally saying out loud to myself, why is nobody pissed off at him like they're pissed off at Javier Baez? And Baez was 3 years of, right? And a lot of it has to do with you see him every day, which goes to my point about paying pitchers as much as some of these teams do. It's just, wow. You're seeing them every 5th day. I want the everyday player. But I digress. Skeens down to a 1.91 ERA. Really impressive. Here's another issue. Detroit has dropped 7 of 8. That's a problem in itself. But the bigger issue is they have just been limited to just 3 runs in the last 4 games, including 2 shutouts. They've been shut out 7 times this year. They are also, like we look at the 7-game losing streak, 6-game losing streak, I should say. They're 14 and 16 in their last 30. 14 wins, 16 losses. Tonight it'll be Casey Mize against Keller. Keller's 3 and 10 with a 3.5 ERA. I would expect them to bust out tonight. But that tells you something. 3 and 10. Get about it for a minute. The 3.5 ERA is terrible. Not by today's standards. Back in the day, it would be terrible. Today's standards it would not be. Jack Flaherty has an ERA at 5. Skeens. We've talked about this before with Skubal against Skeens. It's a great debate, and you're going to have it moving forward in a lot of different realms, I suppose. Especially if Skeens goes someplace else. But Skeens is he's made 21 starts. You know how many times he's allowed a run in the first inning? None. 21 starts, no runs allowed in the first. It's a hell of a. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question of the day. Which do you think is more likely in the Big Ten this season? Michigan finishing 5th, MSU finishing 13th, or neither is close? That's what we've got for you. Michigan finishing 5th, MSU finishing 13th, or neither is close. Make sense? That was the preseason poll, so that's why we wanted to put that up and get your thoughts on it on a Tully Moore Tuesday. You can vote as often as you like. We've got it out there on our poll question and our Twitter account at XB Mornings. Dave Wanstead from Fox Sports is going to join us a little bit later on today, 8 o'clock. Ask him that same question and ask him about the Big Ten this year, because he's done a really good job of breaking things down. We might slip in an NFL question or two if we've got some time, but we've always got time for you. The Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text the program Sports Radio to 21,000 on a Tully Moore Tuesday. Check them out at tullymooregolf.com.
The stock market has been all over the place, and if you're nearing or in retirement, it's probably got you nervous. Will you have enough to retire? Are you worried about running out of money? Are you sick of hearing, just ride it out? What can you do differently to ensure that you have enough to retire comfortably with an income that's guaranteed to last your lifetime? Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, and I've got great news for you today. I'm a featured expert in a groundbreaking film called The Retirement Deception. This film reveals exactly how you can create a guaranteed income with your nest egg protected from market volatility. Wall Street may not want you to see this film, but I do want you to see it at no cost. That's right. It's absolutely free when you call today. I want you to know the truth about retirement. A secure retirement is achievable. Call today to speak with one of our retirement specialists to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 866-85-STEEL. That's 866-857-8335. Again, 866-857-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Save a good deal more with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves, including new breakfast favorites all season long. Meyer brand syrup, pancake mix, and instant oatmeal are all just $1.79 each. Plus, students will enjoy the well-packed backpack good life with back-to-school supplies for $1 or less, including Meyer brand 24-count crayons, Meyer brand 70-sheet notebooks, and Crayola Classic Colors markers. Shopping for breakfast essentials and back-to-school supplies is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Huge here for my good friends at the Van Andel Institute in the Purple community. They're helping you make waves for a great cause at Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore. It's a paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 26th. Grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise critical funds for breast cancer research and awareness programs. Learn more about Stand Up for the Cure at suftc.org.
For the best morning sports talk across the great state of Michigan, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard.
I mean, our guys understand. I mean, we're mad and frustrated, and we want to do better, and we're getting tested a little bit. But it's a season. This is baseball, and at this level, when you don't quite, do enough in any aspects, the game's not going to reward you. So we'll be fine.
You know how there are some people who talk very calmly and it almost frustrates you because you want them to be almost as panicked as you. Managers, coaches can't necessarily get in that type of emotional ranting phase of a season.
Unless you're John Tortorella.
Unless you're John Tortorella. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. You can get angry. And AJ Hinch has gotten angry plenty. But he's not going to show any panic. That's a hard thing to do, don't you think? Because let's face it, you and I have our connection or our devotion and what we have at stake is nothing compared to AJ Hinch and his staff, right? That's their jobs. It's their livelihoods. That's what's on the line here, okay? You call it some type of eventual legacy. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but that's what it is. Just because coaches in football can go on a rant on the sideline because of the emotional connection they have to the game that's taking place as it's taking place. How did you throw a flag on that play? It's not an interference. How did you not catch hold? That's roughing the passer. That is a catch. He's inbounds. I'm throwing the red flag. All of it would be very, very emotional because it's once a week. If you got that emotional in baseball, you would need a stretch jacket and a padded cell. Can't do that in 162. You can do it every once in a while. Earl Weaver proved that. Bobby Cox proved that. Sparky Anderson proved that. Joe Torre proved that. AJ Hinch has proved that. But for the most part, you've got to be as calm as you can possibly be. His team is in a bad stretch. Ask yourself this question. Did you expect this? Before the season began, could you have envisioned this team losing 7 of 8? Absolutely.
Before the season, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's the key phrase, right?
Yeah.
When they sprint to the first team to 50 wins, or first team to 60 wins, and 60 recently, so it was after a losing streak. Did you think it was going to happen? Let's say at the beginning of June, for as well as they're playing. Did you think this was going to happen?
No, because the expectations shift.
Yeah, I did.
Fair or unfair?
I did. I can't say that it was to the teams they lost to, but I did expect it. And I expected it because A, it's baseball. B, I've seen other teams deal with it or have to deal with it as well. The Dodgers, the Yankees primarily. And I went over this yesterday. There's people in Boston probably didn't expect what they were getting at the beginning of the season and upset, right? People in Toronto, we got a payroll. How's this happening? All these things take place. It's surprising that this stumble would come to Seattle, who's not a bad team, and Texas, who's not a bad team. I don't think they're as good as Detroit, and then Pittsburgh, of course. It's just one game. That's why it's really hard in baseball to predict on a night-to-night basis. When Trent does the Soaring Eagle Casino Resort daily wager, and he dives into baseball, I think, oh boy. I mean, that's what he's got to do, though, because it's in July. You can't bet on whether Tate Ratledge is going to make it through a practice. Okay. But AJ Hinch has to be really calm and understanding of the situation. Hey, we're going through a bad stretch. We're going to get our way through. Okay. Might happen as early as tonight with Casey Mize. And it sure doesn't help us and our mindset, not that they're have to settle us down, that it's the pitching and the offense. We saw in the Seattle series that it was the pitching. Even the two all-stars. Wasn't just the bullpen. It was even the two all-stars. Then you creep over into the Texas series, and it's the hitting. And now, against Pittsburgh, it's hitting. So there's a part of you that goes, ooh, my big fear, Shep, at the All-Star break was, would the guys who have surprised me in the first half be able to carry it over into the second half? For as good as they were in the first half, the thing I'm going to be monitoring is, will they be able to carry it over into the second half? Zach McKinstry was an all-star. Wow, that's awesome. Can he carry it over into the second half? Oh, he went 0 for 4 last night. You see what I'm saying? I mean, these are the things that you look out for. You try to convince yourself it's not going to happen. Then when the losing starts, you can't help but notice it because you're digging for it. And I understand that because I am too. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. I don't think there needs to be a panic meter. And it has nothing to do with a double-digit lead in the division. It has more to do with the team's makeup and the leadership, to be honest with you. Very confident this team is going to respond. Very confident that obviously they're going to win the division. The question has become now, because of such a good start and because of such a good first 100 games, and it is, the first 100 games were good, all right? Do you think that you're now measuring them against everybody else? It's not the division anymore. Maybe it stopped being the division after, 60, 70 games. 70. Now, are you measuring them against the teams that play in the East or the teams that play in the West or maybe even the National League? You're trying to convince yourself, as am I, is this team good enough to win it all? You knew before the season began they were good enough to win the division. Some of you may have been so bold as to say, I think we're the best team in the American League before the season even began. Kudos to you if you're the first one in on that. But now you're probably thinking a little bit to yourself, was I a little quick on the draw there? Should I have waited with this team? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just wondering how much your conviction is being tested right now. So the Tigers lose at 3-0 last night. This was making the rounds of social media yesterday. I don't know why. I'm a little confused at it. I don't know if you saw this trend, but the belief was that after Scotty Scheffler wins the Open Championship, the 153rd, with a 17 under score and 4 clear of the field. And the amazing thing is the 1,197 days between his first and his fourth major, the same as Tiger Woods. What's even more amazing is that both of them, their first major was the Masters. 1,197 days later to the day, their fourth major was the Open Championship. It's crazy. But somebody had posted on some social media that he doesn't have any memorable shots. I don't know if you saw that trend, but that was kind of making the rounds. And like, wait, he was 5 down in the gold medal match. You don't think there were any memorable shots in that? You think he's won 4 majors, 20 tournaments, and he's had no memorable shots, no chip-ins, no long putts, no drive close to the hole, a 200-plus yard par 3. Are you kidding me?
Well, isn't it also kind of like, so what? I mean, you said yesterday, gave that incredible stat. He was 59 of 62 or 63 for putts that were 10 feet or within. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you're that good and you're that consistent, who cares if it's memorable?
I agree with you. I just don't understand how a guy is 5 down on the back 9 at the gold medal match and you don't think he had any memorable shots.
Yeah, in other words, you forgot about it.
Exactly.
No way.
What a low-level comment that is. You can't win that much without memorable shots. And by the way, not every memorable shot is on Sunday or Saturday. Sometimes it's on Thursday.
Yeah, good point.
Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Speaking of the Tigers, by the way, we've got the latest power rankings. Not that it matters a ton, but we like to keep you updated on that stuff on a Tully Moore Tuesday. We're brought to you by MitchLionsWealth.com. Dave Blonstedt joins us at 8 o'clock here on X.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the upcoming Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to be launching the center in Farmington Hills this fall. It will provide exercise, therapy, and educational programs that will help the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality of their clients' retirements, this center will help improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center will be available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right. Absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and the caregiver.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center will make in the fight against Parkinson's.
Since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center will encourage others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
I don't know how much it truly matters to Tigers. Welcome back, Tullymore Tuesday here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Glad you're with us. This hour is brought to you by MitchLionsWealth.com. Just because these things fluctuate so much, the power rankings in baseball, they have them in every sport. It's okay. I mean, it's a good little fodder for you to have with your friends and discuss a little bit about what you think is going on and what is going right and what is going wrong. And it really forces you to take note of the other teams that are in the mix, that are considered good baseball teams. I don't know how much it matters to Tigers fans that we're not the number one team in the power rankings. That's what concerns me. No, that's not what concerns you. What concerns you is how your team is playing more than anything else. What concerns you is how certain players on your team are playing more than anything else. I'm not saying wash away the 6 innings against Paul Skeens last night. You would have thought you would have been able to break through. The thing about it is that there wasn't much of a threat at all. You're just like, okay. I mean, but Paul Skeens was able to shut it down. I think it was the second or third inning. I forget which one, where Detroit actually had what you thought was some opportunities until Skeens went to work and got the final 2 hitters with runners in scoring position. But overall, it wasn't there for them. You would have hoped that they would have been able to do something against the Pittsburgh bullpen. 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position isn't great. All right. It's not great in a lot of different areas. You're not getting through and the opportunities itself. And Pittsburgh was only 2 for 6. It literally is. I felt like one of those games where you're okay. Pittsburgh's not good. You're playing to their level. I oftentimes hate that phrase, playing to the level of competition. But it oftentimes is true. I don't know about you, but when I play golf, sometimes I play better when I play on a really nice track. I don't know if it's concentration. I don't know if it's placement. Like I know where the hell the ball's going. I'm not sure what it is. If I don't play a great track, my mindset showing up is like, oh my God, I should tear this course apart. Yeah. Like there's any course I should tear apart. But I should be doing something like, doesn't happen. Shoot the same scores or whatever on a really nice course. How is that possible? One of the many frustrations I have with golf. And that's kind of how I felt last night with the Tigers and Pirates. Are they playing down to their competition? Are they not that they would go into any series? I don't think Hampton staff would allow this, quote unquote. But they show up and you're like, how you should be kicking this team's ass. You're that much better than me. I know. You've got the one guy on the mound. I totally get it. It happens. It's happened in the past. The Steve Carltons of the world on a bad team. Happens in Detroit. Tarek Skubal. A couple of years ago on a bad team. Hard to beat that Detroit team because Skubal's on the bump. The key for many managers will tell you before a game, we've got to stay close and get him out of the game. Tigers stayed close against Paul Skeens, got him out of the game after 6 innings. Why, I don't know. But couldn't get through on the bullpen. So you look at it and like, okay, where is Detroit? How are they measured now? What teams are playing well? Milwaukee, as we told you yesterday. The Cubs. Latest CBS Sports MLB Power Rankings has Milwaukee 1. By the way, they too have 60 wins. Detroit was the first team to 60 victories, but Milwaukee's right there with them. It helps when you're on a 10-game roll, and actually they've won 11 in a row. They've won 11 straight games. Milwaukee has. Kudos to them. So they've got as many wins as Detroit. They actually have a better record than Detroit because they played 1 fewer game and has 1 fewer loss. Number 2 on this power ranking is the Cubs, who've dropped back-to-back games, but still just a game back of Milwaukee in their division. Then it's Detroit. Then it's Toronto. Toronto's got 59 wins. Who's the team in baseball nobody's talking about? I think it's Toronto. Milwaukee has forced it as a division leader.
Toronto leads their division, but the conversation in the East
is constantly, nauseatingly above the Yankees and the Red Sox. Of course, we're going to talk about the Dodgers. I think they're talking about the Padres too because of their talent and one spending money. Hey, only 3.5 back. 7-10. Only 3.5 back of LA for the division lead. Philadelphia is going to get love. The Mets are going to get love, and they're 1-2 in the East. I game separates them. The Tigers getting 60 wins, first team to 50, first team to 40, first team to 60. They're going to get love, and rightfully so. Houston, perhaps, isn't being talked about nearly enough. They've got 58 wins, although they've skid just a little bit. They've been able to punch out of a funk that saw them lose. Even winning their last 2 games, they've lost 7 of 10. So there's an issue there. But I think, Toronto is not being talked about nearly enough. I mean, some would argue that Baltimore gets talked about more than Toronto just because of the disappointment. Which team in baseball is the most disappointing team? Baltimore. That's what a lot of people say. I mean, they only have 2 more wins than the damn Athletics. Which I don't know if you've ever looked at the standings. Isn't it funny? You've got Detroit Tigers, Minnesota Twins, Cleveland Guardians, Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, Los Angeles Angels, and at the bottom, Athletics. There's no city associated with them whatsoever.
Yeah, I have noticed that a couple times. It looks ridiculous.
It does look stupid, doesn't it? Another one of those moments. We should have like a fireside moment, some type of sponsor of a fireplace where we're talking about the stupidity of baseball or the stupidity of leagues in general. Who sits around in a conference room and goes, well, thanks for the brain trust to be here in Oakland. As you all know, we are moving from Oakland. We will no longer be playing at the Coliseum, so don't worry about possums. Don't worry about raccoons. Don't worry about rats. We'll let the city figure that one out. Raiders are gone. We're going to join them in Vegas eventually. Don't know exactly when, but eventually. We're looking for a home. We're thinking about Sacramento. It doesn't hold enough people. That's okay. I'm not worried about ticket sales. Our team sucks anyway. So, what are we going to be called? The Athletics. Yeah, but don't we have to have a city associated with it? Nah, let's not worry about it. We're not going to worry about that one damn bit.
What's worse, that or the Washington football team for 3 years or whatever that was?
At least they had a place.
Or the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good
I would
one.
argue having the mascot is better than not having the city, but they're both horrendous. There's no excuse for either.
Yeah. When you don't have a city associated with it, I don't feel like you have a fan base, if that makes sense.
Well, that's true, but I guess
in Utah, you knew they were in Salt Lake City. You knew people were going to be there. How they get a bid and don't have a name, have something in mind, because everybody wants to please everybody these days, and that's just not possible. Okay, that's the problem. I don't worry about pleasing everybody, but in Utah, how do you go into a situation and go, we've got to have a nickname? Again, sitting around a conference table. They've already ordered their bagels. They're drinking their coffee. You know what today's job is, right, everybody? Yes, sir. We got to figure out a nickname. Well, let's leave it up to the people. Oh, that's great. Let's have some final names. Okay, I got one. The map. There's a good one. Do another shot. I don't get it. I don't understand what people are doing. Where's the foresight? How come nobody thinks ahead?
I almost blame the person that doesn't challenge
Yes.
the idea and stays quiet more so than the person that comes up with the idea. Does that make sense?
Well, it does make sense.
If you're just a bystander and you're like, oh, okay, and you're going with the flow, you're just as much to blame as the person who came up with a stupid idea.
100%. The problem Trent, is if you do try to buck the trend, if you do try to say something and you are the minority voice, you get shouted down or you're made to feel worthless, stupid. You're not a team player, right? It's the scene from Wedding Crashers. Thanks, team player. I don't understand it either. I have no idea how an organization goes, we finally achieved our goal. We've wanted for a long time now to get a hockey team. In the state of Utah, we've done it. We've had the Utah Grizzlies as an AHL or an IHL team. Why not just take the Utah Grizzlies name? And if that's taken and you can't do it, we're just going to be the Utah Hockey Club. For how long? I don't know. Until what? I don't know. Do you have another name in mind? I don't know.
Here's the other thing, Shep, and fans might not love hearing this, but it's sports. It's not that deep. Pick a name. Pick a name for your team. That's all it is. It's a name.
It is, yes, but I think it's more than just a name. It becomes your identity.
And it has to embody where you're from. I get it. The really good mascots have something to do with the city or they have a backstory. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you got to pick a name before you're just the Utah Hockey Club for a full season, for crying out loud.
I agree. I don't care about the mascots. I'm not a big mascot kind of guy. Like Paws at Comerica Park, really? I mean, usually baseball. Rory with the Lions. I mean, give me a break.
Hooper with the Pistons. There you go.
It's just, okay. Whatever. My point is, all the teams, I mean, they're founded for a reason, but they're deep rooted. We're fortunate in that regard for in Detroit. A lot of teams are like that. And eventually it does become your state, your area, your identity. It means something to you. I don't understand why you think you get like a 1 year free pass or something like that. I don't know. I don't understand how the Athletics can just sit there and go, the Raiders left Oakland and went to Los Angeles and went back. And now they're in Las Vegas. You accept that name. You don't want to be the Sacramento Athletics. Okay. Then why did you go to Sacramento? I don't know why we're talking about this, by the way, but why did you go to Sacramento? And if you knew Sacramento was a possibility, then shouldn't you have been prepared for that?
Yes, because if you think you get a free pass for a year or 2 years or 3 years in the Washington football team's case, then it's like you're almost taking your franchise for granted. You're just kind of acting like it's no big deal. We have this franchise. We'll get around to it. No,
and then what they'll do? They'll have these various kiosks where you can go buy merchandise. Why am I buying merchandise that says the Washington football team, knowing damn well it's not going to be the Washington football team in a couple of years? You just haven't prepared soon enough. You want me to spend money on this stuff. Why would I spend money on it? Now you got somebody in the stands that says Washington football team somewhere. What? Especially there. That was deep rooted, man. I mean, people there were they couldn't get enough of the Washington Redskins. And that's a whole nother story. Can't make people turn it back, for crying out loud, but whatever. For me, when you look at the Athletics and you look at that's a really good example with Utah. How do you create that bond with your fan base? What the Athletics are telling everybody in Sacramento, you don't matter. You're just a stopgap. We're leaving for Vegas. We don't care whether you're there or not. What a horrible situation.
Yeah, we don't care enough to attach our franchise's name to your city.
And shame on baseball for allowing it to happen. Honestly, if you're the commissioner, how bad does that make your team and league look? Things like this, they don't see. They're in New York and they're worried about home run derbies. They're worried about setting up for this, that, and the other thing. Okay. Let's make sure we get these people involved and make sure we're doing a reach out to this, that, and the other thing. How about the fact that your league in certain markets, not all, is a bit of a laughingstock. It makes you really appreciate what you have here with the historical significance associated with your franchise. Our phone number on the Meijer hotline is 866-838-4843. But that power ranking has Detroit number 3. Here's what they rate. Well, it wasn't emphatic 2-1 win, but the Tigers have snapped their 6-game losing streak. None of these get into a deep baseball conversation. You may want to know, after the Brewers, Cubs, and Tigers, it goes Blue Jays, Dodgers, Yankees, Astros. How are the Yankees? I think I already know this. How are the Yankees in second place, 4 games back of the division, ahead of a division leader that is in front by 5? If you don't think there's a bias, I mean, be honest with yourself. Forget, I don't have anything per se against the Yankees, the New York market or anything. I have a problem that people just automatically assume, well, it is the Yankees, so we've got to vote them in there. It's okay to look at them and say, they're not playing really good baseball. There are certain things they've done really well. Like, they can score runs. Give me a break. All right, listen, football. Let's get to that. Dave Wanstead is going to join us at 8 o'clock. Excited to talk to him about college football, the Big Ten specifically. Can James Franklin do it? Are Michigan and Michigan State under or overrated or right where they should be? So we'll do that at 8 o'clock. But we'll talk Lions football on the other side. Dan Campbell had some interesting things to say about his quarterback, about his coordinators, and one of his offensive players has been vocal about being the forgotten man. All that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour here on a Tullymore Tuesday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth and MitchLyonsWealth.com on X's and Bros.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Are you ready to elevate your gaming experience with the Eagle Casino and Sports app? Wager your way anytime, anywhere. At home, on the go, or tailgating at your favorite Michigan game. Plus, you'll have the chance to receive up to $1,000 in free bets. From money lines, parlays, bet on all the action right from your phone. Your games, your way. Only with Eagle Casino and Sports. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
Step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sportsbook app that you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today at Eagle Casino and Sport. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play. After another superb start on national TV on Sunday, let's have some fun with numbers with Tarek Skubal. Skubal has now given up 1 run or none in 7 of his last 10 starts, while averaging 7 innings a start with a 1.50 ERA in that time. He struck out 11 batters on Sunday, the 7th time this year he struck out 10 or more, the 5th time with 0 walks. In those 7 starts, he struck out 80 while walking 2. In small but important ways, last year's unanimous Cy Young Award winner is even better this year. More first pitch strikes, more total strikes, more swing and miss, and he's harder to hit.
Save a good deal more with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves, including new breakfast favorites all season long. Meyer brand syrup, pancake mix, and instant oatmeal are all just $1.79 each. Plus, students will enjoy the well-packed backpack good life with back-to-school supplies for $1 or less, including Meyer brand 24-count crayons, Meyer brand 70-sheet notebooks, and Crayola Classic Colors markers. Shopping for breakfast essentials and back-to-school supplies is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network. And don't forget the huge show later today at 3 p.m.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Together with Garvey's family and friends, they are all stepping up to help change the course for children. Now, the annual golf outing for Family Promise of West Michigan will be on September 8th at the beautiful Thousand Oaks Golf Course on the north side of GR. And you can join Josh, his family, and Dorn Mayhew Grand Rapids in their quest to end homelessness one family at a time. They're looking for sponsors. They're looking for foursomes. If you want to be a part of it, it's simple and easy. Go to familypromisewm.org. That's familypromisewm.org. They're looking for sponsors, foursomes. The event is coming up in September on the 8th at Thousand Oaks. You can be a part of it today and help families find a home. Go to familypromisewm.org. That's familypromisewm.org.
You got to be careful. I've got a little thing on my board, man. You can't let anything sway your identity or what you want to become. Man, you can't let the fear of injury change the way you prepare. It doesn't mean you're not being smart. You're not reading the data. So no, I'm not changing much. We're going to do things very much like we've done for the last 4 years because it's led to success for us. And we play a certain style of football, and we got to keep that.
I love that. Absolutely love it from Dan Campbell. I may love that. You may love it. And welcome back on a Tully Moore Tuesday. This hour brought to you by Meyer. We all may love that attitude. I do wonder if you're not changing or adjusting. Change might be the wrong word. Are you doing your program and your players justice? Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You know how what do we always say? Adapt or die. Love that line from Moneyball and the way Brad Pitt delivers it. Adapt or die. I'm not going to fire you. Blank you, Billy. Now I'm going to fire you. I do. I love that part of it because the adapt or die is so true. Dan Campbell doing the same thing is understandable because of the results he's received from that. But if you're not getting the ultimate result, a Super Bowl win, or playing in the Super Bowl, should you change some things? You could make that case, couldn't you? Dan, you're not getting to where you want to go. Okay. Then don't you have to do something different? It's about preparation more than anything else. He's not going to back off his guys because you've got some guys who are injured. Taylor Decker, Aleem McNeil, you know the list, okay? Don't need to go into all of it. Josh Pascal. It's going to be a while. So just because that's the case, and they may not be hurt from practicing, just because that's the case doesn't mean you change it for everybody else. Love that attitude for Dan Campbell. Hard not to like him. I mean, the attitude he's put on display on a regular basis has been awesome. So, I also love what sometimes we don't always see. Oftentimes we don't always see what takes place in the season. I've said this leading up to training camp for a long time. I'm worried about the interior part of the offensive line. I'm worried about it because you're going to be asking Graham Glasgow to play a new position in all likelihood. You could be asking Tate Ratledge to play a position he's never played before. And you're asking me to buy in on a guy who hasn't played enough. Christian Mahogany played, 73 snaps last year, Trent? The guy he's taking the place of played over 1,000. I can't judge Christian Mahogany. Can you? It's one game, dude.
No, his production was backloaded for sure.
It's one game. 73 snaps is one game. That's the equivalent to one game. I don't expect him to be Kevin Zeitler, okay? And actually, he's going to play the left guard, at least as of right now. Things could change. But if the snap was today, it appears Taylor Decker at left tackle, Christian Mahogany at left guard, Tate Ratledge at center, Graham Glasgow at right guard, Penei Sewell at right tackle. When you put it that way, and you don't have the names Zeitler and Ragnow, doesn't it impact you a little bit more? It does me.
Yeah, and I think you're irresponsible if you're not concerned. That doesn't mean it's not going to work, but
I know.
And I know you're not saying this, but
it is something you're going to be watching intently. This might be a coming out moment for people who watch football and say, I'm going to really pay attention to the interior part of the offensive line. I want to see what's going on there. You talked about the running lanes for Jahmyr Gibbs in the past. And if that's the case, and it is the case, who was helping pave those lanes. Why do we view him as one of the best running backs in football? I'd put him right behind Saquon Barkley. I like Bijan Robinson too. And I know you like Derrick Henry. Why? He's got a lot of open lanes. Runs to daylight. No, he's great. He can break tackles. He's a good blocker. He's smart. Catches the ball out of the backfield really well. There's a lot of good things about Jahmyr Gibbs. That offensive line helps him a lot. Okay? So maybe you're going to be looking at his production, his overall numbers more than anything else. Graham Glasgow says, I am so much more happy at right guard. Last year, this is what I mean about some things that we don't always acknowledge. We don't always know this. Last year, I was trying to be a good guy, switching positions. You bring in somebody that just played right guard for 12 years, you have to smile about it. But things are going good. I'm happy to be playing right guard. I asked somebody the other day who played in the NFL for a long time on the offensive line, and I asked them. We asked this of Mitch Lyons yesterday too, in Mondays with Mitch. But I did ask an offensive lineman, former offensive lineman, hey man, what are you going to be looking for in Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge? Fluidity, athleticism, footwork. You and I can't relate. We just can't. I mean, we're not watching it in the same way. It's not the same lens. You and me going, oh, hey, here's an idea. Let's just watch Tate Ratledge's feet and see if that works. Okay. It's not going to happen, right? I mean, that's just not the way you and I are programmed. We don't necessarily always know it. And I'm using that as a broad scope when I say you and I. Because some of you out there listening may have a coaching background, may have a high-level playing background where you can pick up the differences. I'm generically saying you and I, and when I say Trent and I, Trent's buddies, most of us listening, there are some coaches out there listening right now, and they're like, I can pick up the difference. I'm not talking necessarily to you, but the people who haven't played that position at a high level or coached that position at a high level, it's a hard thing to diagnose. I was thinking about this yesterday. I took my daughter to the driving range. She really wants to get into golf. She's athletic, so we went there, and I realized, what am I looking at? Seriously, I mean, I can tell if somebody tops the ball. Well, you hit the ball on top of the ball. No kidding. I'm sitting here trying to coach her way through it. I can do the setup, the hands, the path. You're supposed to come through the ball. But when she's pulling it and all this other stuff, do I really know the difference? On where her arms should be and so on and so forth. Probably should get her lessons, right? It's the same way in this situation because I had read the Graham Glasgow article prior to taking her. And my thought was, what's the biggest difference between right guard and left guard? Right? When he says, and I read you the quote, how much more comfortable he is at right guard. I'm so much happier now. I was trying to be a good guy. Isn't the first thing that pops in your head, what's the difference between right guard and left guard? That's what you really want to know. Why are you so much more comfortable at one position than the other? And by the way, aren't you in the mix for the center position? He moved to left guard. He hadn't played left guard since 2017. It is a different position. He ranks 68th, according to the Free Press article of Dave Burkett. He ranks 68th out of 77 qualifying guards by Pro Football Focus. His lowest grade since his rookie season. He did not want to change positions when he originally signed with the Lions. But when you bring in Kevin Zeitler, who's one of the best right guards in football, you're forced to. Now he's back. I'm encouraged by that. Why? Because he's happy and he's knowledgeable about that position. Remember, he was the guy we were talking about being the center. He's your right guard. Tate Ratledge is your center. Christian Mahogany left guard, it eases my concern a little bit at one of those positions. It's a Tullymore Tuesday. We'll talk with Dave Wanstead about that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. He joins us at 8 o'clock here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Meijer.
It's a Labor Day Sonic Strike. Monday, September 1st at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Welcome to the circus. Five-finger death punch. Same show, same night. Saliva and drowning pool. Showtime 7 p.m. Tickets on sale now, starting at $36 at the box office or online at etix.com. Part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Five-finger death punch, saliva, and drowning pool. Monday, September 1st at Soaring Eagle. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Make your next shopping trip a good deal better with the Meijer 7 for 7 sale. Pay just $1 each when you mix or match any 7 or more of over 1,000 participating items, like select varieties of Meijer frozen personal pizzas, extra large avocados, select varieties of Chobani Greek yogurt, and Meijer essential paper towels. Getting more for your money with the Meijer 7 for 7 sale. That's the save to bundle good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Look, Hooker knows the deal, man. This is no different. You're out here to compete. We gave him some things to do while he was home, talking about working on a little bit of the urgency, the footwork, certainly continue training. And look, it's only one day. But, man, I liked what I saw out there yesterday, man. There's an urgency. I thought his footwork was on. I thought he was spitting the plays out. But there again, that's day one. But he knows what it is, He knows it's time to take the next step. I think he's wired right. It means something to him. And so here we go, man. It's open camp.
Really good soundbite from Dan Campbell. Love that. Really do. I mean, just it's so pure and so raw, but so true. Oftentimes when you hear his sound bites, it's not made for television or radio. Trent works hard at grabbing these, but while he's putting those in, damn well he's going, exactly. Like you feel it with Dan Campbell. It's not scripted. That's what I love about it. But this isn't about Dan Campbell. Welcome back on a Tell Me More Tuesday. This is about Hendon Hooker. If I said to you, which position battles are you looking forward to most? Where does Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen rank?
It's definitely under the radar.
For sure. Are you even thinking about it?
No, and it should be higher on the list, like you said. Or like you're alluding to, I think.
Well, should it be?
I think you have to have confidence in your backup quarterback. If Jared Goff's to go down for one or two games, you have to have trust in someone to step in with these offensive weapons and deliver a win for you.
I agree. I do agree with that. You and I, coaches, being around them as often as they are, knowing them for as well as they do, they probably feel the same way, right? Okay. Where did Kyle Allen go to school?
Couldn't tell you.
Do you know anything about him?
I know he played in Washington a little bit under Ron Rivera. That's about it.
Yeah. So he's a guy who, he's played in Carolina, Washington, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Went to Texas A&M, by the way. Not that matters that much. You watch a lot of college football. Do you remember him? I don't. I'm sorry.
No.
If Hendon Hooker or Kyle Allen, whoever wins the backup spot, if they have to start more than a few games, this team's done. You're not winning anything with those guys. And that's, with all due respect, those guys throw a better ball than I ever have. I can do all the precursor stuff on their ability. I'm not disregarding their ability to throw a football at the National Football League level, understand plays, anything like that. I have too much respect for all those athletes to even think about that. But I also know in the NFL, I mean, when you're a journeyman, if you're not sticking with some of these teams that Kyle Allen has been with, and if Hendon Hooker can't beat out Teddy Bridgewater last year, it's a problem. Perhaps it shows you just how challenging the position is. This magnifies it. If you didn't know already, and I think most of you did, but if you didn't know already, Hendon Hooker, who was a pretty good player at Tennessee, has had a really hard time, not just because of Jared Goff, seeing the field at all. So much so that they brought in Kyle Allen and said, look, we're not convinced our guy that we drafted is indeed the guy to back up the main guy. That's a problem. I don't know how much we should truly be focused on the backup quarterback, even though I think Trent put it well. I mean, it is a position. It's really important. It's a play away. That's all it is. One snap, one hit, one play away from having to go to these guys. Here's my issue. And I hate acting like this because my mind, I need to turn it off. I don't know why I do this, but I immediately look for some possible opposites when I read certain things. Hooker said to the media the other day, I'm a very competitive guy. Okay. No kidding. You're not playing at that level unless you're competitive.
Yeah, that's not unique to him.
Yeah, it's not unique to anybody. Most of those guys want to win at everything they do. You want to have some good arguments, some good emotion? Watch a card game on a plane between these guys. Go into a baseball clubhouse and watch them play ping pong. It's a debate. It's a battle. There used to be in the Tigers clubhouse, before they redid it, a mini basketball hoop. Like the kind you and I play when we were kids in our bedrooms. Maybe not you, me. I've got one up here on one of the closet doors. You're shooting, right? That's what a lot of people do. That's competitiveness. All of them are competitiveness or competitors. They're playing video games. They're competing. So him saying, I'm a very competitive guy. Bob Seger, no blank. I've known that for 10 years. Okay. He says, my love for the game. I'll do anything to make sure that I'm playing at my highest and at my best. Okay. I should just be able to read that quote, Trent, and say, okay, great. I don't. I hate that my brain works this way. If indeed you'll do anything to make sure you're playing at your highest and your best, where have you been for 2 years? I don't know why I think that.
Well, it's a good question.
No, you're being a jackass by saying that.
No, I don't think you are, Shep, because you and I have talked about this. They didn't trust him enough to be the backup on the depth chart in a playoff game. So what did they do? They went out and got Teddy Bridgewater out of retirement, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That says more about Hendon Hooker than it does anyone else.
But he was working out with his high school team. So let's give him some credit there. In the past, the backup quarterback, it was a big deal. It was a big deal back in the days of Eric Hipple. It was back when Eric Kramer. I mean, there was a huge debate. Rodney Peete, Eric Kramer, both of them on 6-2 in the early 90s. Led their team to a 12-win season, and it was Kramer who led them past Dallas. The backup quarterback, outside of Dan Orlovsky, with all due respect. Yeah, maybe some people like Mike Mann. Maybe. Okay. I love his athleticism. Good for you. Let him go back to Rutgers. Anyway, it used to be a really big debate in Detroit. The last two quarterbacks have settled that. Maybe early on in Stafford's career. I mean, when Dante Culpepper was here, some people may have wanted Dante Culpepper. I had numerous battles on the air with, God rest his soul, Bill Sharp, a friend of mine, who passed way too soon. A good man, really was, even though he put up a lot of negative things on his columns, and people thought it was just clickbait and stuff like that. He truly felt that way. But I really enjoyed working with him. He was a friend of mine. But he and I, I'll never forget, we're at Lions training camp, Matthew Stafford's rookie year. He and Dante Culpepper are taking snaps, and they're throwing the football. And I'm like, look, I had never seen Stafford throw. We saw him on TV, saw him at Georgia, right, in a game. But have you ever seen him up close and personal? You're watching practice from the sidelines. We were allowed to roam the sidelines back then as members of the media. And I'm like, this dude is it. I said to Drew, you got to start this guy. He's like, no, you got to start Culpepper. Why? Because, you got to ease the young guy into it. Why? The guy's the better player, and everybody knows he's the better player. Everybody knows it. Remember when Jim Leland took Justin Verlander north in 2006? He said, if I didn't take him, I would have lost the team. If I didn't take Joel Samaya, I would have lost the team, even though they were young. I had to take them. They were that good. It's the same thing with Stafford at the time. Nobody says that about Hendon Hooker. And I know it's the backup. I know he wasn't drafted first round. I get all that, first overall. But no one's saying that about Hendon Hooker. You know what they're saying? They're saying, holy crap, if Jared Goff gets hurt, we're done. That's a problem. I don't know how much I truly care about the backup quarterback position because I've resigned myself to the thought if it happens, we're dead anyway. Never used to be that way at Lions training camp. Shows you how different it is now. We'll ask him that about Dave Wannstedt. We're going to ask Dave Wannstedt a lot. So I hope he's got some short answers because we got a lot of questions for him. When we come back, this franchise doing stupid things as usual. And are the Lions truly talented enough to win it all? We'll dive into that when we come back on X's and Bros, brought to you by Meijer on a Tullymore Tuesday, right after this.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
This is Matt Shepard. If you're like me, you want to create memories when you golf, and there is no better place in the state of Michigan to do that than Tullymore, where the people are as genuine as the golf itself. Tullymore will create a custom-made golf package for you with discounts that allow you to save up to 30%. Look, these special experiences are more than just golf. It's about lodging and dining and service. Nowhere do you get all of that better than at Tullymore in St. Ives. 2 championship courses with unlimited special memories waiting for you. Go to TullymoreGolf.com.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
This is probably the hungriest that I have been, because I feel like a lot of people kind of forget that I'm here in the offense too. So I'm not here to prove anybody wrong. I'm here to prove myself right and be the best teammate that I can be, but I definitely got like a big chip on my shoulder.
Believe me, he is not forgotten. We know exactly who he is, where he is, and what he's capable of. And the 1-2 punch with he and Gibbs is it's special, and it's rare in this league, in my opinion, especially nowadays. So there's a place for David. He's going to help us, and we're going to use him, and we'll use he and Gibbs together.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like the chip on the shoulder. I always wonder how long that takes place. Somebody says I'm playing with a chip on my shoulder. I think there's a lot of guys. I mean, it absolutely plays out throughout an entire season. It can easily do that, and I can understand why David Montgomery would feel that way. Look, people are like, oh, he missed some games last year. He played as many games last year as he did the year before. I don't know if people remember that. 2 years ago, he played 14 games, rushed for over 1,000 yards. 77.5 yards per game, 13 touchdowns. Last year, he played 14 games, but he rushed for 775 yards and 12 touchdowns, 55 yards, 55.5 yards per game. Maybe that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the attempts, perhaps. 219 carries 2 years ago, last year, 185. So when he says, perhaps people have forgotten that I'm part of this offense, that's because, you missed some chunks of time. Gibbs showed how good he can be as the bell cow. And when Montgomery did come back, didn't agree with him starting against Washington, whatever. And he was not effective. Also, the emergence of Jamison Williams last year, really good for him. The continuation and progression of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't remember Sam Laporta saying any of this stuff yet. Last year did not duplicate what he did his rookie campaign. I like that David Montgomery's playing with a chip on his shoulder. I hope it doesn't lead to any open griping and negativity associated with this team, but he wants to be more involved. Good. Dan Campbell saying we're going to use them both at the same time. That would be impressive. That'll be an interesting experiment. It's a tough balance, man. When you've got two really good players like that at the same position, it's a really tough balance. So don't get me wrong. I like it. I'm excited for it. And I love that he's playing with a sense of urgency. He said the other day, it's the year of reckoning. I don't know if he meant himself or a year of reckoning for the Lions. I think he meant for the team, saying we're tired of coming close. That's the team, not just himself. We're tired of coming close. Trent, remember 2 years ago, Lions played in the NFC Championship game against San Francisco. The number of people who said, in so many words, this will give them fuel for next year, right? Remember that? Yeah. We see that all the time. I am hesitant to go that far because there's a lot of teams who have fuel for fire for the next year.
You've always been anti-linear in terms of season to season.
Yeah, just don't buy it. Otherwise, Baltimore would have a championship by now with Lamar Jackson.
So would Buffalo.
So would Buffalo. Right. So would San Francisco.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that would.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams. I mean, it's.
And last year, the Lions would have been in the Super Bowl, not the Eagles.
Right. And it's the same thing. Everybody gets motivated for different reasons. Okay. You're motivated for a reason that might be different from my reasoning for motivation. I'm not saying it should all be painted with a broad brush. The whole chip on the shoulder, how long does that chip stay? And what does it take before a team you're playing plays with the chip on their proverbial shoulder? Like my guess would be this year, Washington plays with a bit of a chip on its shoulder. Is that a fair statement, do you think? Do you think it's fair that Baltimore and Buffalo play with a bit of a chip? I'll guarantee you that C.J. Stroud and Houston are saying, and didn't have the year we expected. We're playing with a chip on our shoulder. Is there any other player in the National Football League right now who should be playing with a bigger chip on their shoulder than Justin Herbert? Honestly, I don't know if you can use that chip on the shoulder moniker with a quarterback, but honestly.
No, it's a great example because there are real questions about him in the playoffs. There are real questions about him, hasn't won the division yet. Granted, they're in the Chiefs division, but still, I mean, he's in year 6?
How many people are doubting your favorite guy, Aaron Rodgers? He's already accomplished a lot. Maybe there's no chip on the shoulder. My guess is the dude with that attitude who thinks that much of oneself, there's a bit of a chip on his shoulder. This is my last year. I'm not going to remember it this way. I'm just guessing here. I'm throwing out some names.
I think
so.
Right.
So I love that David Montgomery is doing that. Ben Johnson's going to Chicago, and he's going to be coaching with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I'm going to show you guys who the brains were behind that outstanding and electric offense. It's just a guess. I could make a case. You could make a case for every single player, or at least every single team having at least a couple of players playing with a chip on their shoulder. Bobby Wagner wants to go out a champion. Been there, done that. Just because you've done it doesn't mean you don't have a chip on your shoulder. You don't think Tom Brady played with a chip on his shoulder every single year? You're damn right he did. For different reasons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you and I love the story. He could name every wide receiver taken ahead of him. You know that, Shep, right?
Yeah,
cool.
It's been beaten.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's a cool story. It's
a great story.
Stuff.
It's what motivates him. If that's what motivates him, I'm all for it. I have no issue with that. And I don't doubt it either. It's what motivated Brady. It's what motivated guys like Whit Merrifield. That's cool. Alex Bregman wore number 2. You know the reason why. Okay? That's awesome stuff. I want to play shortstop, but you play third base for us. I know, but we're playing Atlanta today, and the guy taken ahead of me, number 1 overall, is their shortstop, Dansby Swanson out of Vanderbilt. I want to play shortstop. I want to show him and everybody else I should have been the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, how awesome is that?
If that's what gets you going, that's cool. All I'm telling you is, for as many players and teams as there are in the National Football League, you have that many chips on your shoulder, oftentimes. People are doubting Bryce Young in Carolina. Is there a chip? Is there a chip on Anthony Richardson? I mean, if they're worth their weight in competitiveness, absolutely there's a chip. It's not that I don't believe David Montgomery, I do. And it sure as hell isn't that I don't believe him to be worthy, because I do. I love him. I love when he carries the football. It's just the chip on the shoulder thing, and I'm more motivated this year than ever before. I think there's a lot of guys who dig deep and have that motivation. Christian McCaffrey was lost in the backdrop of last year's running backs discussions, right? He's going to be taken this year just as serious as he would any other, but he's going to be running and catching with a chip on his shoulder too. There's a ton of examples you and I could use. Let's get to the text line. The text line is sports radio to 21,000. Fire away.
When I hear David Montgomery say he has a chip on his shoulder, I'm starting to hear a different message from this team. It used to need team first from players. This tells me the pressure is building on that team after blowing yet another season in Lions history.
That sounds like a Freddie text. Blowing another season. No.
15 games, won the division. 15 wins, I should say.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Do you look at last year as a blown season? I was just going to say, there's a lot of people who are using the injuries as an excuse. Maybe that's not a fair way to put it. are using the injuries as an explanation.
There you go.
There's a difference between explanation and excuse. All right. I don't think, look, there's a lot of teams that deal with injuries. Philadelphia was relatively healthy. I think they played, I could be wrong here, but of the 17 games they played, I think 21 of their 22 starters were consistent.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
And sometimes you need that. You need a little luck or whatever.
Oh, I think oftentimes you need that. For sure. I mean, you're not, there's not many teams going into a Super Bowl. I mean, unless it's Earl Morrall for Bob Greasy, or maybe it's Jeff Hostetler for Phil Simms. It's tough to win with that backup. I'm just using quarterbacks as an example. That's probably unfair. There's other guys who have stunned us, right? Hi, Icky Woods. There's a lot of guys who you're like, wow, I can't believe that guy came out of nowhere. We never saw this coming. It's not like a move from 1968 when Mickey Stanley, an established center fielder, oh my God, he's going to play center. He's going to play shortstop so Al Kaline can get in there. He's really athletic. And he's been a starter all season long. Do you look at last year as a missed, how did he phrase it in the text? Not missed opportunity, but blown season?
Blowing yet another season in Lions history.
Do you believe it was a blown season? The expectations
I don't, but I do understand why people might feel that way.
I understand why people might feel that way too.
But I don't go that
Look,
route.
If you're a long-term Lions fan, and we all are, you're sitting back and you're going, this is the best Lions team in my lifetime. Unless you're old enough to have watched Bobby Lane direct his team to an NFL championship in 1957. It's the best Lions team we've ever seen. May not have the best player because the best player played in the 90s in Barry Sanders. We saw those teams that are pretty good. We've seen better quarterbacks. We've seen better defensive tackles. We've seen better defensive ends. We have. I mean, be honest. As much as I like Aiden Hutchinson, I like him a lot. He might be the best defensive end the Lions have ever had. But he's not right now. I know you want to think he is, but I would remind you that in 1978, Al Bubba Baker had 23 sacks in a season. Yeah, I know. He was All-Pro, and he was Defensive Rookie of the Year. They didn't have Defensive Players of the Year back then. 23 sacks. Last year, Trey Hendrickson led the league with 17.5. Oh, and by the way, the next year, he followed up with 16. And the year after that, he followed up with 17.5. A bad year for him might have been 7.5 sacks. But he played the first 5 years in Detroit and had at least 8.5 every single year. It's an absolute man-child. 23 sacks in a single. So when you have, and I was a kid back then, when I saw that, forgive me if it's me saying Aiden Hutchinson's the best they've ever had, because that's not the case. He's not Robert Porcher yet. He might not even be Bill Gay yet. There's a lot of guys who have been able to get after the quarterback. But I digress. This is the best team last year anyway that the franchise has ever had in most of our lifetimes. 15 wins, playing a decent schedule, going unbeaten in the division, and winning every game on the road tells you an awful lot about that. It's impressive. So I understand why somebody would text in and say that was a blown opportunity. It's a blown opportunity because of all the things you worked so hard for during the regular season. Sure, the injuries piled up. I think Washington had some injuries. I think just about every team had some injuries. Kansas City had plenty, did they not, last year? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they lost their first running back and first wide receiver.
Did they play in the Super Bowl? So It's hard for me to make excuses for them. That's all. That's the hard part. And I don't think you are. I think you're looking at it like, you know what? I can understand why they may have had an issue getting past a team like Washington, even though going into that game and you and your brother were there, you had your jerseys on. It was a long ass ride back to Grand Rapids. You were walking into Ford Field last year going, we've got this. Absolutely. Let's go to the phone line, the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843.
We've got Dave from Hudsonville wants to chime in on the Lions before we go to break here.
And Dave Wanstead will be with us at 8 o'clock. Hi, David. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Shep. How are you?
Good.
Hey, great stuff. Question for you. So, would you prefer or take one championship with years of mediocrity versus, say, the Buffalo Bills? You know, the Four Falls of Buffalo and a highly competitive team all the time. What would, because people say last year was a waste or whatever. Well, no, it wasn't. It was disappointing at the end, but it was a tremendous season. But I get it. But what would you prefer?
I don't think anything takes the place of a championship. I mean, to be able to say you've done that, because it's two-headed. To be able to say you've done it is one thing, but knowing that you and I have never been able to say we've been there is another. So by having a championship, at least you got there and won it. Buffalo right now is at least they got there, but they haven't won it. I had this debate all the time with John Beilein, and I took the opposite approach because John Beilein's a big Buffalo Bills fan. So he's like, "Oh man, the heartbreak." I said, "Please stop. At least you've been there. At least you celebrated and anticipated. Couldn't wait for the opportunity for 4 of them in a row to kick off. We've never even been there. So don't tell me, cry me a river. Nothing takes the place of a championship." Now, I say that in a moment where we haven't won. When you and I, Dave, celebrated the Red Wings' last championship in 2008, were we saying that? Are we saying that now? Well, at least we got our championship. It's been 9 years since we've even made the playoffs. So maybe it's a little different in that regard.
Yeah, I remember aiming for the Tigers when I was in college. You know what I mean? And going back, I love the championships, but my gosh, you and I are old enough to appreciate just having a consistently competitive squad. You know, I agree with you.
Can you look back and say, well, at least we got there in 2006 and 2012. Does that matter to you now?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. But I surely enjoyed the fact that I love the consistent winning. But you're exactly right. I love the championship. It was great to see that. That is the goal. But, man, I wish we could get closer to having a little bit of both.
I'm with you on that.
Championship occasionally and being able to do that. So
have a great day. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think most of us want to be in the mix every single year. But if you're not winning it, that changes everything. I guess I would have to ask Dave, if I got the championship, how long would I have to suffer afterwards? If I'm going to have to suffer forever, like I've already suffered through with the Lions, then probably not. I want to be in the mix every single year. There's nothing like having that ring and being able to brag about it. When we come back, we'll brag with Dave Wanstead. He will talk about football, college, and the pro. He joins us on X's and Bros on a Tullymore Tuesday, right after this, brought to you by Meyer.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Together with Garvey's family and friends, they are all stepping up to help change the course for children. Now, the annual golf outing for Family Promise of West Michigan will be on September 8th at the beautiful Thousand Oaks Golf Course on the north side of GR, and you can join Josh, his family, and Dorn Mayhew Grand Rapids in their quest to end homelessness one family at a time. They're looking for sponsors. They're looking for foursomes. If you want to be a part of it, it's simple and easy. Go to familypromisewm.org. That's familypromisewm.org. They're looking for sponsors, foursomes. The event is coming up in September on the 8th at Thousand Oaks. You can be a part of it today and help families find a home. Go to familypromisewm.org. That's familypromisewm.org.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Are you ready to elevate your gaming experience with the Eagle Casino and Sports app? Wager your way anytime, anywhere. At home, on the go, or tailgating at your favorite Michigan game. Plus, you'll have the chance to receive up to $1,000 in free bets. From money lines, parlays, bet on all the action right from your phone. Your games, your way. Only with Eagle Casino and Sports. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Matt Shepard. If you're like me, you want to create memories when you golf, and there is no better place in the state of Michigan to do that than Tullymore, where the people are as genuine as the golf itself. Tullymore will create a custom-made golf package for you with discounts that allow you to save up to 30%. Look, these special experiences are more than just golf. It's about lodging and dining and service. Nowhere do you get all of that better than at Tullymore in St. Ives. 2 championship courses with unlimited special memories waiting for you. Go to TullymoreGolf.com.
Make your next shopping trip a good deal better with the Meijer 7 for 7 sale. Pay just $1 each when you mix or match any 7 or more of over 1,000 participating items, like select varieties of Meijer frozen personal pizzas, extra large avocados, select varieties of Chobani Greek yogurt, and Meijer essential paper towels. Getting more for your money with the Meijer 7 for 7 sale. That's the save to bundle good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
All right, back with you here on this Tullymore Tuesday. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. Dave Wanstead does an outstanding job for Fox. He does it for Big Ten Network as well. He has accomplished everything you could hope to accomplish in a man's football life. He's won a Super Bowl championship. He's won a national championship. He blocked for one of the greatest running backs of all time at the University of Pittsburgh, and he's a hell of an analyst, and he joins us here on X's and Bros. Dave, really appreciate the time. Looking forward to the knowledge as always, and you do a wonderful job. How are you on this Tuesday?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, I just actually got to Chicago, and I'm in Florida for the off season. Let me put it that way. And then I'm downtown Chicago, where, as you mentioned, I do the Big Ten. I do a lot of the Bears stuff pre and post game. So it's that time of year. Whenever I show back up in Chicago, I think people around the city here know that it's football time. So I'm walking to a show now as we talk, and here we go.
I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. Before we dive into some college football, I wanted to ask you a quick question. We were talking about Graham Glasgow moving from left guard to right guard and how happy he is that he's back at right guard. Can you explain to our audience the difference between right guard and left guard? I know a lot depends on the schemes, but overall, what's the biggest difference with the two positions when most people think they're the same position, but they're really not?
Well, it probably comes back to a little bit of comfort is a factor. There's no question about that. Offense and defensive linemen, and the number one reason is just because of stance. And people may say, "Well, that sounds simplifying it." But to be quite honest with you, whenever you're getting in a right-handed stance with your right hand on the ground, maybe, and 1 foot up as compared to the other, this is important to you from the standpoint of comfort, going back to my point, because that first step, when you play offense or defensive line, I used to tell my guys the most important step with a lineman is his first step. Mm-hmm. He's got to be able, obviously with the snap count on offense and on defense, you're reacting to the ball. So my point is that first step is critical to you putting yourself in position to make an effective block, whether it's run or pass. Mm-hmm. And if a guy's been playing the right side and he's more comfortable on the right side, it all makes sense to me. It's really just a comfort thing. Nothing else is really that much different, except something that with one hand on as compared to the other, 1 foot up compared to the other, can make a big difference in the first step, which usually is the determining factor how much success you're going to have.
What are your thoughts on the Big Ten football season that is upon us? The preseason polls came out. Penn State was number 1, Ohio State number 2, then Oregon, Michigan 5, Michigan State 13. How do you handicap the Big Ten this year? What do you think will be most important in the season this year?
Wow, I'm going to be very honest with you. Penn State, obviously, they got a lot of good players back. They're very talented. They've done a great job recruiting. But they're probably getting the edge because of the returning quarterback, and you know what you get. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think Illinois is getting a lot of play. Illinois brings back, I think, the most returning starters. I think 70% of their team, if I'm correct, both of those numbers are returning. So Illinois, and they've got the starting quarterback back. Right. So, I think when you look at the Big Ten, is Michigan, is it going to be the transfer kid from Fresno? Is it going to be the true freshman? How's this thing going to play out once you get through training camp? I think that is probably as big a determining factor in how a lot of these media people from the outside look at these teams, and they say, "Oh boy, Penn State, returning quarterback, Illinois returning quarterback," and they're good teams and they're talented teams. Let's rate them pretty high. So I think that has a lot to do with it. We'll see, because of the uncertainty. Use Michigan. Is it a freshman? Is it a transfer kid? How's it? I don't know enough about either one yet. It's going to take a little bit of time to really say he's the guy. He's the guy.
What do you like most about the state of college football, and what concerns you most?
Well, obviously, the fan involvement is still second to none.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm walking down Michigan Avenue right now in Chicago, and I got about a 20-minute walk, and I'm going to see Indiana shirts, Northwestern shirts, Michigan shirts, Ohio State shirts. You know, the fans of college football, I think, are second to none. And, you know, you just look at the games on TV and you look at the crowds and you look at the enthusiasm and everything goes with it. You don't get that in the NFL. Some places you do, but most of the time it's all business. The thing that does bother me, and I just said it, is now it's become a business. And any time that there's money involved, and you know, I got 40 years in this business, half of it almost in college, half of it in the NFL. And I can tell you that the minute that you get money involved, guys, now all of a sudden players get representatives involved. And when you get representatives involved in doing your talking for the money, now that whole thing of coach to player relationship, there's a big void in there. And I sensed that my last few years in the NFL, when we did, you know, Hall of Fame linebacker Zach Thomas and Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, when we did their contracts at the Dolphins, I remember sitting down with both those guys, and sure, their agents were negotiating the money, but you could sit down and you could talk to the player about the importance of what he was to the team, how I saw him in the future. Nowadays, the NFL is all about agent to administration. The coach is kind of out of the loop. He truly is. The player says, can you talk to my agent? Can you talk to my agent? It scares me to death that that's going to start happening more so in college. It's moving that way, guys. Let me tell you, where all of a sudden it's really a business. And that's what I loved. When I went back to Pitt, and that's the last place I coached, you know, and I had some great players, you know, obviously Revis, Aaron Donald, Shaden McCoy. I had great players, but you know what? The part that I loved most about it, not was coaching great talent, but the relationships I have with these kids. And I'm just concerned that, boy, that may not be the same as it was.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just college football either. Dave Wanstad has won a Super Bowl. He's won a national championship. He's an outstanding analyst for both Fox and for Big Ten Network. There's a big question right now in Detroit, as I shift back to the NFL, about their backup quarterback in Hendon Hooker. I don't want you to break down Hendon Hooker, but I do want to know, when you were a head coach, how much did you concentrate on the backup quarterback and the importance of that position?
I probably didn't concentrate enough on the starting quarterback. That's why I'm talking to you right now. I seriously probably slighted that position in every place I coached, because I was convinced that, you know, when we won it at Miami with Steve Walsh, he was a solid average player. We won because we ran the ball. We had a great defense. And we won a Super Bowl at Dallas. Troy Aikman is a Hall of Famer. But, hey, Emmitt Smith was the heart and soul of that team, and we had great, you know, number one defense in the NFL. So my point is, I got a little bit spoiled. I'm probably the wrong guy to talk about quarterback's value, even though now I would do it differently. I would definitely do it differently. And in today's game, the quarterback is so much more of a dual threat guy. You know, it used to be, hey, if you're getting pressure, get on the ground. Don't even think about scrambling, okay, because you're going to get hurt. Where now, darn near every offense, even the guys that aren't known to be runners, they have some of those naked bootlegs and they don't have some movement passes in their scheme. That, to me, says, okay, the guy's going to take some shots. He's going to get hit. You better have a good backup ready to go. So how good Hooker will be, you know, I remember seeing him play in college. Yeah. I thought he was a good, solid player. Whether he could go in and be a starter. And I always looked at this, the backup quarterback in the NFL, everywhere I coach in the league, he had to be able to come off the bench, and could he win 4 or 5 games for you? Okay. And is he a guy that if someone gets banged up that he can come in and carry Detroit to win 4 out of 6 games? I don't know. That's how you got to evaluate backups.
All right, quick question, and this is a biased question, I know, because you blocked for one of the greatest running backs of all time, and you coached one of the greatest. Emmitt Smith, Tony Dorsett, Barry Sanders.
Boy, you know what? You're right. You put me in a big bind there. I won't be able to go back to my alma mater if I don't say Tony. I won't be able to go back to Dallas or Super Bowl reunions if I don't say Emmett. And but I'll tell you what, I will say this: preparing as a defensive coordinator and preparing as a head coach, I quit showing highlights. Let me tell you a funny story, but a true story. I would put together a short tape for our entire defense and show it the first meeting we got together to play an opponent. So when we were playing whoever, Detroit side, obviously Barry Sanders was their best player. He's the guy you got to stop to beat Detroit back in the day. So I would put together 7-8 plays of Barry Sanders. And I did this with every team. Well, now, if the best player was a quarterback, it was him. If the best player was a receiver, it was him. Whoever. But Detroit, it was a running back, obviously. And after about a year and a half, I quit making the highlight tape because I was afraid our guys wouldn't get off the bus. We wouldn't tackle them. He was by far, Barry was the most dangerous running back that, in fact, I tried getting him to come to Miami after he had retired. There's a long story behind that. Yeah, Mr. Ford didn't want to trade him and blah, 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 blah. But we were trying to work and see if we could get Barry a year or two after, because I knew all about Barry because I coached at Oklahoma State. And he came in after I had left. Yeah. But you know, so yeah, no, Barry Sanders was the most difficult one to defend because he could catch, he could run, he could make you miss. He could do it all.
That's great stories. You do a great job. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the time. Have a great season as always. All right, go get it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Dave Weinstedt here on X's and BrO's. How good was Dave Wannstedt, huh? You know, he didn't want to answer the question, but he did answer the question, didn't he? It's Barry. Dave Wannstedt was a tackle for Pittsburgh when Tony Dorsett was there. Dave Wannstedt was the defensive coordinator in Dallas in the Super Bowl and had Emmitt Smith. Barry Sanders, different ballgame.
I think he kind of tipped his hand. He wanted to say Barry right away, but he knew that he couldn't do that, so he danced around it a little bit. But that story he told at the end pretty much told you all you needed to know.
Yeah, look, if you have to say, well, I can't go back to my alma mater if I don't say him, and I can't go to Dallas if I don't say him, but I'll tell you what.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Different beast.
Yeah, he was really insightful. I really enjoyed talking to him. So give credit to Trent. Trent's the one who set that up. Appreciate that very much, and it was a good conversation. Really good conversation. I thought it was also interesting what he said about the backup quarterback, that he didn't pay enough attention to it. I don't think that's unique. I really don't. I think coaches are obviously paying attention to certain backups. You have to with certain rotational guys. It's not like they ignore the backup. The backup is oftentimes doing what? Running skeleton, running the other team's drills, right? Other team's offense against your number one defense. That's how they get the reps. It's not always a negative. It's how you get your reps. You're not going to get your reps with first teamers. Jared Goff needs as many reps as he can get. So Hendon Hooker, Kyle Allen, they might get 1 to Jared Goff's 5 snaps, whatever it may be. And then when you move forward, in order to get more repetition, get the arm throwing and all that other stuff, get live bullets coming at you, you got to run the opposite team's or the opponent's offense that week. So good insight there. And same thing with the guards, right guards and left guards. You know, pressing him on the Big Ten right now is really challenging. I mean, we're still finishing up media days, for crying out loud, where the Cub reporters are asking the questions. You know what I mean? From the Iowa Hawkeye, from the Daily Beast of wherever it may be. So they're asking. Not that they don't ask good questions. I'm sure they do. Just saying that's what they're wrapping up. How do we know? And Big Ten Network, say what you want about it, but the one, and I think they can improve in a lot of things, but the one thing they do well is they go around to the various schools and they have that big conversation about this team, previewing this team. If you're a Michigan State fan, you should be really concerned. Maybe you can surprise some teams. Nobody's talking about you. Sometimes that's a good thing, right? It's okay. Ignore us. I dare you. There's the chip on the shoulder again, right? I dare you to ignore us. Perhaps that's what's taking place here. But it'll be, the Big Ten is so deep now. Or maybe it's just top heavy. How would you call it? Would you call it deep, or would you call it top heavy in the Big Ten?
I mean, given the fact that it's 18 teams now, it's hard not to say deep. Because I think there's a lot of viable opponents. But I get what you're getting at here.
There are how many legitimately can win the Big Ten championship?
3.
Oh, really? You're going 3. So you think Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon are the only 3 teams that can win?
Yeah, right now. I know it's early, but that's just kind of my knee-jerk reaction to it. Do you disagree?
It's hard for me to think it's a different. It's not a level playing field. I both know that. It's hard for me to think that in an 18-team league that there are only 3 viable options. That should be concerning for the league. and college football.
Well, that is fair. That is fair. You're exactly right there. But it's hard for me to do the mental gymnastics of, okay, Indiana can win the Big Ten this year. It just doesn't feel right to me. We'll see. There's still a lot that has to unfold between now and next month.
And they had a lot of James Madison transfers, which sounds odd to say, to think that would be the difference in the Big Ten. But going into last year, did you think Indiana could challenge for a Big Ten title?
No.
Me either. Not saying that this is the team, but if they can creep up on you, why can't somebody else this year who we're not necessarily familiar with right now? I don't know. I think I would tend to side with you more than anything else that there are three. I don't know if Michigan's in that mix. I don't think they're as talented as the three teams that you were talking about.
But there's going to be a surprise team. I think that's what you're getting at here, and I agree with you. They're always
and as Dave Wanstead just told us, Illinois has as many return. Look, do you think they have a good coach? Do you think Brett Bielema's a good coach?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Now, I've been wrong before. I thought Paul Chryst was a good coach at Wisconsin, and they got rid of him. All right. You would have thought Chip Kelly would have succeeded at UCLA, and he didn't. So I think all that. I think Brett Bielema is a good coach too. Doesn't always mean that you're going to get a championship caliber team, but they've got a lot of returning guys. That usually matters to people. Like if you and I are trying to decide one team from another, for some reason, we use college sports more so than anything else. Like with pros, we'll say, man, they've got some really high-end draft picks. And then when the season begins, like, well, they did take their time. They did have to wait and kind of get used to the pro game. We seem to have forgotten that before the season began and we started making our predictions and our picks. But in college, experience seems to matter. It didn't matter for the Kansas basketball team last year, but for the most part, it seems to matter, right? If that's the case, why isn't Illinois seen as more of a possibility? Maybe that's because A, it's Champaign-Urbana. B, just because you bring back a lot of guys doesn't mean that you're going to be a really good team.
But furthermore, if we can flip this here, that's why Penn State is number one over Ohio State.
With the quarterback primarily, as Dave pointed out. But yes, you're right. 100%.
People put a lot of stock into that. Right or wrong, they do.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
And until you have established...
You and I put stock in that.
Yeah. Rightfully so, I think.
Yeah.
But you just can't put all your eggs in that basket.
When you look at the Big Ten, Trent, you go, it is deep, 18 teams. But then you start to look at, and it's not this way in basketball, but in football, it really is this way. There's a lot of teams you've just written off. You just write off right away. Purdue, you write off. Northwestern, you write off. Rutgers, you write off. Minnesota, you write off. I mean, unless you're rowing a boat, that helps you. But you're writing that off, right?
You had to throw that in there.
I had to. Not many people believe in Iowa. You like the tradition. You like a lot of the players from there. But I would guess even players like Jack Campbell, for crying out loud, and Sam Laporta would go, yeah, loved it there. Really, really appreciate Kirk Ferentz and stuff, but they can't win the Big Ten. So to your point, with 3, might want to stretch it to 4, perhaps 5, but not more than that. If you turn that around, it's always the Big Ten against the SEC, isn't it? Yeah. If you turn that around and said, in the SEC, how many teams could you see winning it? You go deeper than 4 or 5, legitimately. There are much deep conferences based on, talented teams, is what I mean. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text the show Sports Radio to 21,000. We're brought to you on this Tullymore Tuesday by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In his only Michigan appearance, Snoop Dogg.
Pop it like it's hot.
Monday, August 10th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Get ready to get down, cuz, with Snoop. Special guest, the main player, Too Short. Part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $62 on sale now at the box office or etix.com. break it down for a real player with Snoop Dogg and Too Short. Showtime, 7 p.m., August 10th at Soaring Eagle. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
Step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sportsbook app that you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today at Eagle Casino and Sport. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play. After another superb start on national TV on Sunday, let's have some fun with numbers with Tarek Skubal. Skubal has now given up 1 run or none in 7 of his last 10 starts, while averaging 7 innings a start with a 1.50 ERA in that time. He struck out 11 batters on Sunday, the 7th time this year he struck out 10 or more, the 5th time with 0 walks. In those 7 starts, he struck out 80 while walking 2. In small but important ways, last year's unanimous Cy Young Award winner is even better this year. More first pitch strikes, more total strikes, more swing and miss, and he's harder to hit.
Huge here for my good friends at the Van Andel Institute in the Purple community. They're helping you make waves for a great cause at Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore. It's a paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 26th. Grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise critical funds for breast cancer research and awareness programs. Learn more about Stand Up for the Cure at suftc.org.
What's the expectations for the Detroit Lions this year from you and your friends as you guys get ready to talk about the season? Could be an injury to Jared Goff away from changing your entire narrative. But we go into a season assuming, even though we have followed the sport long enough to know that that's a dangerous thing to do, we go into the season thinking everybody's going to be healthy, and they're not. We know that. So answer me this. Going into the season, what do you think the overall theme for you and your friends are regarding the expectations for the Lions?
I think we know the schedule's hard. We know the schedule's going to be really tough. And you and I have talked about this, Shep. 15 games is not the bar. That's not the standard. 15 wins.
I don't even know what it should be. I really don't. I'm not sure it should be 15 wins. I think we've gotten to the point, and this is refreshing. We've gotten to the point where the regular season almost doesn't matter. It's kind of like the Red Wings back in the day. Oh, wow. You've got that many wins? Wow, way to go. I mean, you set the record. It doesn't matter. If you don't get by Colorado in the Western Conference Finals, and you didn't in 1996, what difference did it make that you set the NHL record for number of points that has since been broken by Boston?
Not
you care? Nothing. Okay. So 15 wins, we may live and die each week. You and I on Monday will be going, what the hell just happened? How did you lose to Baltimore again? But we're going to forget about that in January or December when we're starting to say, hey, we're into round two. Or we're in the NFC Championship.
Made it further than we did last year.
Right. So I want to know, when you and your buddies talk about the Lions this year, have you ever uttered the phrase Super Bowl or bust? Because that's what one national talk show host has said. He has come up with a list of top 10 Super Bowl or bust rankings. He's not a football guy. Maybe that's not fair on my part.
Well, we made that very clear last week when you're referring to Chris Broussard of FS1, and last week when he said he would implement the swing off in the regular season for the MLB.
Idiocy.
But neither here nor there.
Literally clip his mic. I mean, if you're the director, if you're the audio engineer, and he's in the studio and he starts to say that, if I'm the director, clip his mic, or the producer, clip his mic, please. Why? He's saying something really stupid. Clip the mic. It's going to ruin our reputation. Too late. Oh my God. Here's his Super Bowl or bust rankings. Well, before I get to that, where would you include the Lions? And if so, where? My rankings, Trent and I talked about this last night. Baltimore, Detroit, Buffalo, San Francisco. Anything after that, you're reaching. What are your top four? I don't even know if I can get to a fifth. Honestly, I don't know if I can get to a fifth. Maybe
San Francisco.
No, I have them at 4. Maybe number 5. Maybe it's Kansas City. Only because you've got the best player on the planet. Only because you have a Hall of Fame tight end. Only because you might have a Hall of Fame defensive tackle. Only because you just extended your defensive end from Iowa. No, he's from Purdue. To a nice contract. Maybe because you have one of the better in the National Football League, and because you have the best coach in the National Football League. Maybe, but they've already got 3. So is it really Super Bowl or bust in Kansas City? Probably not. But maybe I could make that argument. I have a hard time getting past 5. Who are your 5?
Yeah, I agree with your teams, just not necessarily the order, but I'd throw the Bengals in at 5. Because I think they have clearly made their decision that they're going to put a lot of firepower into the offense, a lot of money into the offense. They have an elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. You and I both agree is consensus top 4. So for a team like that hasn't even cracked the playoffs in 2 years, I think they're Super Bowl or bust for sure.
If they
They've
haven't
been to the
cracked-
AFC Championship game twice.
Yeah, but if they haven't been to the playoffs in 2 years and they have the worst defense in the National Football League, how can it be Super Bowl or bust? Like, I get it if it's playoffs or bust, and if not, Zach Taylor's gone, and maybe the general manager needs to be fired, but Super Bowl or bust for a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in 2 years and has the worst defense?
But I think another interesting wrinkle to the Bengals part of this is they went 10-7 the year they made the Super Bowl. So it's not necessarily, you and I talk about how it's not necessarily about winning the division or winning 15 games. Just get in the dance. You have the horses to do it, right? So for a team like the Bengals, they have to feel like they are Super Bowl caliber, even though they have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. And I do.
I would say Dallas over Cincy. I would say Dallas over Cincy. Like Cincinnati would. I don't even know if I'd have them in my top 10. I don't know if I can do that. You're right about Burrow. You're right about Chase. I get that.
I do have them at 5, and I think they're a clear-cut 5. I think that top 4 is pretty. They're an echelon above, if that makes sense.
Give me the rankings. You said Cincinnati at 5. Who are the 4?
Yeah, I put the Ravens at 1 because Lamar's now won a couple MVPs, and they've been to the AFC Championship game and haven't even made the Super Bowl with this group.
And they got a coach who has won a Super Bowl, so you would think, not that it's easy, but you would think he knows what it takes to get there. I do wonder if people consider turning the page on Lamar Jackson if he doesn't get there this year. But anyway, go ahead. That's Baltimore 1.
And then at 2, I put Buffalo along those same lines. Josh Allen has won an MVP. They have been, on deep playoff runs, and they just can't seem to get past the Chiefs. Then I put the Lions at 3.
Okay.
And then at 4, I agree with you with San Fran, and then I got the Bengals at 5.
San Fran 4. Okay. All right, so we just got one difference. It's the same thing. We both think they're in the top 3, but we just haven't flipped.
Same top 4 teams, yeah.
And you're primarily because of the quarterback. I think that's what
that's fair to say.
Okay. Because it seems like your examples have been focused on quarterbacks.
Yep.
Lamar and Josh Allen. Right?
Yeah. And Joe Burrow at 5, yeah.
For me, the reason I put Detroit ahead of Buffalo, I'm sure people remember Buffalo's defense. It wasn't terrible last year. Ranked below Detroit's. I think a lot of this depends on talent. When you look at the Lions, they are among the most talented teams in the National Football League on both sides of the ball when healthy. Buffalo is not. Offensively, perhaps. Defensively, no. So I think therein lies the difference. For me, anyway. Here's who, I guess he had to come up with 10. All right. So for example, if I had to get to, I said San Francisco 4, maybe Kansas City at 5. Okay. I would have Dallas at 6. And then I'm really reaching. Maybe the Chargers at 7, maybe. Because they spent a lot of money in getting Jim Harbaugh. They've spent a lot of money on Justin Herbert. They did have 11 wins a year ago. They've been a disappointment. Herbert more than anything else. That's 7.
But you're right, Shep. It does become a reach because in order to be Super Bowl or bust, you have to at least believe the team could win the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And I don't believe the Chargers can win the Super Bowl. I just don't.
But you believe since he can.
Could, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's a really good point. If you're going to start claiming Super Bowl or bust, the expectations of getting there have to be legitimate, right? I would think this is a bit of a reach. What if I said Green Bay? Do they have
any more a reach than the Chargers is?
Okay.
Do you?
No, I don't. When you look at it, I think it's really hard to come up with 10. I think it's super difficult. Because the way you phrased it makes me think completely differently. Like, look, he's got the Rams at 10. Do you think the Rams can be Super Bowl bound? We did last year. They were. Last year, you could have easily seen. So why is it different this year? Why is it not Super Bowl or bust for them? Is it because they've won one recently?
I think that's probably what his reasoning was. I didn't watch the segment, but
Yeah,
and why are the Chiefs at 6?
Exactly.
That's the stick. Why are the Eagles on his list? You know,
right? Because the Eagles won one last year and has played in 2 of the last 3 years. If it's only about teams that haven't won a Super Bowl, then you can't have the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Rams on there. If it's about expectations, I don't think, and Trent doesn't think, I don't think the Bengals, Trent doesn't think the Chargers, because he doesn't think they're capable. Fair enough. Nobody from the NFC South can be out there. So I don't think any of them are capable. You've really, I mean, could it be Washington? If I'm reaching now. If I had to reach for number 8, it probably would be Washington. Only because of what they did a year ago. They've got a coach who's been there, done that. I don't know, man. When you put it that way, do I think Dallas can get there? Under Brian China? No, I don't. So why are they in there? Maybe it's because they are who they are, and their owner, well, he was front and center again yesterday. Make sure that owner is at the podium. Anybody else around? Nope. Leave the coach out of there. Forget Dak Prescott. I don't want to see CeeDee Lamb. No Micah Parsons. It's got Jerry Jones. Only Jerry Jones. Good job. Love that. You take everybody from the AFC South out of it. You've really limited the way Trent describes it. Really limits you to the amount of teams you can actually put on that list. I could get to maybe 7. It would be hard to get to 10 Super Bowl or bust teams. Let's go to the phone lines. The Meyer hotline 866-838-4843. Who do we have next on this Tullymore Tuesday?
We've got Andy listening in Grand Rapids, and he has an omission on the Super Bowl or bust list.
I'm excited to hear about this. Hi, Andy. Good morning.
Good morning, Shep. I think you guys are missing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and not for the reason that they could win the Super Bowl, but for the or bust and the window, right? Like they got Aaron Rodgers and all this other stuff. If they don't get it done or get close at all this year, then they got to blow it up. And some of those other teams aren't going to do any of that. They're just like perennially there. Like I agree, the Bills, but if they don't get there, they're not getting rid of their coach. They're not moving on from a quarterback. So I don't know if it's the or bust.
That's a good point. No, that makes sense. I do think Buffalo, if Buffalo doesn't go deeper, I think Sean McDermott's in trouble. So I do think they would get rid of their coach. You're right about the quarterback.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the thing about Pittsburgh, it's an interesting team you bring up. 10-7 a year ago, 10-7 the year before, 9-8 the year before. Do they have, this is probably a bad way to phrase it, do they have the right to consider themselves Super Bowl contenders? Like we know, you and I both know Aaron Rodgers is there for 1 year. That's it. Mike Tomlin could be on the hot seat. So there's your bust. I'm just wondering, do they even belong in the conversation? I'm not even sure they're in the conversation for their division title, let alone the conference title in the Super Bowl.
For sure. You are completely right there. I was just saying that Aaron Rodgers gives them the short window for the bust. And I believe if you were to ask any Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and there's a bunch of them all around somehow, they would think that with the offseason acquisitions of Jalen Ramsey and things like that, that they think that their DK Metcalf, they're all in and they're going to go for it, and they're booming.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a really good point. I would. Yeah, that's good. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the phone call. Have a great day. I guess the only thing I would ask is, why is Aaron Rodgers? Why are they under more lack of a better word, pressure to win under Aaron Rodgers than they were last year under Russell Wilson.
Maybe they aren't, but I think Andy brings up a good point in the or bust part of the question.
Yes, I do too.
Bust implies you're blowing it up or it's the season's a complete failure.
Yeah. See, I like a call like that because it makes me think differently. Like I looked at it one way, you looked at it a different way. Andy looked at it something completely different that makes me change my mind a little bit. I like that. The bust is not that if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's going to be disappointment. The bust is they're going to have to do something drastically within the organization. So Andy putting Pittsburgh on there is basically saying, if it's not Mike Tomlin getting his team to the Super Bowl after having, 8 straight years of not winning a playoff game, Mike Tomlin's done. That could be it right there. I like that. How about the results of the poll question and the daily wager from yesterday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Yesterday, we asked you, what are you worried about most with the Lions? Interior offensive line, interior defensive line, new coordinators, or pass rush? What was the answer?
Our listeners are thinking along the same lines as you, Shep. Interior O-line, 36%. Interior D-line, 25%. Okay. New coordinators, 23%. And pass rush only at 16%.
Interesting. We've got another one up there for you, the MitchLionsWealth.com poll question of the day. How did your daily wager do last night? I don't think it did very well.
No, I had Gleyber Torres over 1.5 bases. He did have an infield single, so he had 1 base, but nothing else to speak of. So
what do you got tonight?
I just want the Tigers to win. Tigers money line. Get back on track.
Let's hope. Casey Mize throws against Mitch Keller. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. Thanks for the texts. Thanks for the phone calls. And our thanks to Dave Wanstead for joining.